The Togruta, a species calling the planet Sheely their home, possibly most known for their unique appearances, typically having a variety of white facial pigments that could almost be mistaken for a form of makeup or cultural paint to complement their natural, colorful skin tones such as orange, yellow, white, red. But one soon finds that these are all traits that serve as a form of evolutionary camouflage, while also helping this species magnificently stand out from a crowd, especially when paired with their head tails and montrals. Speaking of standing out from the crowd, the Togruta saw many champions, leaders, and icons excel and represent the species across the galaxy, including some Jedi. But no Togruta Jedi stood out quite like one specific. Of course, I'm talking about none other than the one and only Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka served as Padawan to the legendary Anakin Skywalker and a commander in the Grand Army of the Republic. Snips had the interesting gift of training to become a Jedi during wartime as the Clone Wars were in full swing. Fortunate to survive the fateful Order 66, Ahsoka was able to carry on, but in hiding under a different name. Her continued life found her wrapped up in many further adventures, even re-encountering her former master, but unbeknownst to her, as he was now known as Darth Vader. And now, thanks to Shop Disney, we are able to add a 10, almost 11-inch version of her to our collections, and as a fan, I thought we might look into this one together. Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan, aka JK of JK Collection. Remember, we'll be posting a new video at least twice a week, if not more, and if that sounds of interest to you, please click that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. In this episode, we are taking a closer look at the Shop Disney Star Wars Special Edition Ahsoka Tano. Okay, hey, welcome back everyone. Are you ready for this? Togru, ta-da! You get it? Okay, yeah, no, that's all I've got for that one. But here it is, right? The Shop Disney Ahsoka Tano Special Edition. Yes, they call it a doll. Yes, I bought a doll, but I mean, it's still a figure. It's an action figure. What's so different about a Hot Toys figure and a doll, right? Okay, right. Lots of detail. But speaking of detail, let's figure out what the detail level is on this. And looking on the back here, we've got a cool, very stoic, almost confused looking picture of Ahsoka, but very heroic. Big fan of this character. I mean, I'm thrilled to see a lot more appreciation and versions of her coming out, especially with the series and the appearances in some of these live action series. It's fantastic. On the side, just a view through the panel there. Same thing on the other side. Bottom, Star Wars, and then the top, of course, Star Wars. But there we go. I mean, just excellent presentation, right? I do love this costume. It's a very good one, right? One of the latter costumes that she had. Let's pop into this thing and see how it looks, right? So this just came from Shop Disney today. I had no idea that this thing even existed. And then I think I was researching Ahsoka and it popped up. And there it was. And I mean, I ordered it on the spot. So, because of course this stuff, it's unpredictable with Shop Disney stuff or any Disney stuff, especially Star Wars things, right? If it's going to be there the next time you look. Now, I have not opened one of these before, so bear with me as I stumble through this process. In theory, one would think it's just gonna come right out, but we all know that theories clearly don't pan out, and my theory is not panning out. So let's go through the adventure of how do we get Ahsoka out. Let's just keep cutting tape until we get to that point. Okay, so up here on the top, I've got some more. I always want to be careful with packaging because I like to sometimes put it back in because it does provide an excellent display. So this is the boring stuff. We might end up fast forwarding through it. I don't know, because you still get the idea of what we need to cut to get in here. I'm just going to shred the whole thing because I can always add more tape, but I can't fix. Yeah, so there we go. And trying to pull it out from the bottom was just a fool's attempt on my part. So let me hold that out of the way, and we'll undo this little twist tie here. Maybe we'll undo these things on the side here. I mean, clearly this was designed to be picked up and just absolutely devastated in the excitement of getting your own little Ahsoka Tano. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, doll. Right? That is exactly how it's billed, so I have no shame. But let's continue this dissection and rambling period. So, hey, if you're still here, thank you for still being here through this very interesting time of removing this Ahsoka Tano. Okay, and yep, we've got her strapped in down here. I think I might not be able to get away with trying to preserve this thing. Let me cut this down here at the bottom. So we've got this taped in, which is the stand that she's on. I honestly think it might be the end of it. And then we've got some McFarlane-like rubbery elastic pieces holding the arms in. So, I mean, fortunately, we're very familiar with shredding those. Thank you for your patience as we undo this one. It is clearly a very different adventure. This is where I wish I could ask questions. You know what? I am going to ask a question. I appreciate that people are starting to throw some comments in some of these things. So as I'm commenting, or as we're doing this, I would love to hear from you. Like, this is probably one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And, you know, if it's Ahsoka, great, throw it in there. But who is your favorite? I'm always very curious. I love some of the answers that you get, you know, because there's so many different characters, so many obscure ones that exist out there, and it's just interesting how different characters resonate with people, right? So it just kind of all depends on what your taste is and what, you know, sometimes what that character's individual struggle is. Sometimes that just speaks to someone, and you know, I'm always curious about, well, what was it about that character that really spoke to you? But, you know, so if you want to share that in there, that would be fantastic, as we're still dealing with getting this out. So, yeah, probably going to be fast forwarding through a bunch of this so that I don't entirely lose your interest, if I haven't already. So, who knows if you'll be hearing any of this stuff. So here we go. But it'll be a fast forward version of this absurdly packaged Ahsoka Tano. I mean, look at this thing. My goodness. You definitely can't just walk out with this one and bust right into it. And if they want to say that this thing's built for kids, I hope nobody's relying on the kid being able to open that thing, because let me tell you, patience level can be very well tested. But there it is, right? So, and immediately standing on its own very well. It is very clearly very much feeling like we'll say a lesser quality Hot Toys or something, right? It's a doll, let's be honest, right? But that's very cool because it is Ahsoka, and so that just kind of changes it. But let's take a closer look at her, right? Let's see what we got going on here. So there on the face, there's our white paint, right? So she's got the more orange skin tone, as we mentioned before, and the white quote unquote paint, but the facial colorings that show on there. And it's really interesting to see all the different markings with all the different Togruta that we see throughout the series. And we've got the head pieces, right? So we can see around the back more of what it looks like. A little bit of scuff right there, but that's okay. I mean, all in all, everything's looking pretty cool. It's a lot more cartoony, slightly kiddie look. But that is one thing about Ahsoka, at least in the series, she always had kind of softer features, especially in the Clone Wars. You know, she did have a lot more of a cartoony look to her. I mean, yes, it was a cartoon, but, you know, she just kind of, she was definitely a little bit further into that look, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so it doesn't really make it stand out, and here I've found yet again another piece that has to be removed, and lo and behold, apparently that means I had to remove her wrist because I pulled too hard, and gosh, that thing was stuck on there. Okay, but that was just getting the lightsabers loose because it was causing some odd things. Okay, but you know what? This pulls out some opportunities here that I can see, right? So in looking at flexibility, the shoulder does go up and down. We don't really have a butterfly joint. That's, you know, to be expected for what we're dealing with. We do have upper arm rotation, like bicep, tricep. Nothing around the elbow, but it is a double elbow and pinless, if you will. No real well, yeah, we do have wrist rotation, and we can pop this back on, and of course the wrist will go back on with this two-piece joint right there. But before I do that, you can see right here what is clearly some bleed through of the dye, or maybe some just rubbed off onto the plastic, right? So this is plastic, it's not painted, it's just it's cast plastic in that color. But then this being fabric, the gauntlet, and then this is a cast plastic. It's like casting gray painted with the blue and the black. There's some bleed off, but obviously you can see that the gauntlet does come off. So, you know, kind of a nice fun little feature there. But one thing that definitely stood out, and a quick opportunity from accidentally popping her hand off. But there we go. So the hand looking good. I mean, still got pretty good mobility. It does turn, and it will do the up and down, right, because of the way that that joint is designed. Same thing on the other side. And do we have any, can we tell if we have any rub off? It's hard to say. Looks like a little bit peeking through there. You kind of see it right there. If you can't, there is some. So, you know, theoretically, you're not really ever taking that off, but that is something to be mindful of, that the fabric, the dye on it, can rub off onto the, oh, would you look at that, onto the plastic itself. I didn't even see that before. Hopefully I didn't just magically somehow do that, like it rubs that easily. But anyway, so just, yeah, there we go. A little bit of an opportunity there, right? It just looks like general rub on there. General rub. Little known general in the armies, right? So there we go. He was a leader in the clone army, General Rub. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so moving on down, rotation and movement. We have a little bit here, but mostly it's coming from the waist. There's not really a mid torso. It's waist. We've got a little bit of waist rotation. And actually a decent bit, right? So, and then up and down, not terrible. I didn't even do the head. I got just preoccupied. Good tilt, right? Side to side, good tilt. If I hold the body so it doesn't shift with it. Up and down, not really a thing, right? Because of her headpiece, right? So what are you gonna do? It goes down, but a lot of that is the whole body flexing with it, and then up, same thing, right? And it, just forget about it. There's no exorcist going on there. But yeah, so back to the hip rotation, pretty good. Leg flexibility, we got the almost Togruta split. Decent flexibility. It kind of looks like it just stops. I don't think this is hindering. Yeah, it's just the design of it, the hinge, the flexibility just stops right there. There's not really anything causing interference. It's just the way that it was designed is to flex that high. With the knee, we have a double knee in there. We can just kind of feel it. Cool thing about the fabric costume and this pad is it does kind of help block that super curved knee, but also the leg does not go very far back. So that also prevents that crazy curve with a flat part knee that can happen sometimes. No, it's hard to say if that's calf rotation. I don't think it is. I think it's mostly just this guard or top of the boot. But the foot does have, the foot, as you can see, does have rotation capabilities, but not really much for the up and down or ankle breaker. The ankle just separates, okay? So, and also no real thigh rotation or anything like that. So, I mean, it's just very basic as far as its articulation. It's not a Black Series. It's not anything like that. It's just a Disney special edition Ahsoka Tano, right? But one thing I'm going to throw out there, the costume, the fabric is well done, right? So it looks great. This is kind of like a faux suede like material. Feels like a flocking, but it's, you know, it's that general texture to it. This cloak is wired, so there we go. We do have that option, which is always nice to have, right? So, and it is wired down both sides and not along the back. It is stuck together right there. You could probably pop it loose. I'm just going to keep it together just so that it stays kind of minded, but I do appreciate a good wire for adding a little bit of drama, a little bit of wind effect, right? It just makes it look so much better. It also makes it look better if you know what you're doing when you're dealing with a wired cape. One of these days I'll learn. But there we go. I mean, all in all, no real opportunities. Paint apps like on the face, the pigment, the white pigment, looking good. Maybe could have used one more layer of white because you can kind of, it's not as clear as it could be, but it's not bad. I'm going to say they did a good job. There's no real obvious paint app issues in going on here, right? So the things coming off here, those are part of just the way that this is designed and is grown, right? So it's not like really a mess up per se, because we've got them showing in multiple places. But yeah, so there we go. All in all, considering what it is, I'm pleased with it. And we'll take a look at the two lightsabers before we move on. So there we go. Decent detail on those, right? So they're pretty chunky. Let's shift the focus. Bring it a little bit closer. There we go. They're kind of chunky. This does still have the elastic piece on it. There we go. Got it off. So she's got the short saber and then the long saber. Both designed very similarly, right? So they're an Ahsoka set. So you're going to see very similar basic pieces to it, right? The black button type things on the back. This one does have a blue right in the middle, where this one being a little bit smaller perhaps is why they didn't include it. So there's a little bit of blue right in the middle of that. General design otherwise pretty much the same. That is just a single red dot. That one has red with a little bit of black in it, and we're missing that top black piece there and all that. But more room on the larger one, and of course it's going to have different details. I do like the blue blades. Hey, how neat would it have been if it had a little LED in there and these could light up, right? That would have been super cool. But I digress, and that's it. That is the Shop Disney Special Edition Ahsoka Tano. And as you can see, stands perfectly fine on its own and just keeps doing it because it's designed to. Okay, and we'll be back with some 360s. Thanks. Okay, and here is our 360 view of the Shop Disney Special Edition Ahsoka Tano. All in all, it's pretty cool, right? Posability, not really a thing because of what the basis of this thing is. But if you're a fan, definitely pick it up. It's just kind of neat to have. It's a silly ad, right? But it's kind of fun. So there you go. Thanks. Well, that about does it. Thank you for checking us out, as always, and for joining on this collecting journey. Look for a new video at least twice a week, if not more. And be sure to subscribe and click that like button. It would really help us out, and it would mean a lot to me. If you'd like to see some more videos, there are a couple of quick links on your screen right now for you to check out. But no matter what, as always, thank you for taking the time. And remember, we are all in this world of collecting together. Let's look out for each other. Thanks.